Hello! It's been a while, I know, sorry. It has grown a bit longer as well. But here on a rather dismal November day. Today I'm going to be looking at this. I'm not going to repeat all the other reviews. There's some really good reviews out there. This is the Lava U, and this is the 26-inch tenor model. Obviously the design is completely out there. It's futuristic. It comes in a really relatively cool case, which is see-through. You can Google it online, you'll see the case and all the other bits and pieces. And it's a hard case, but it's got a see-through top with chrome handles, etc. Some people sort of say, well, okay, yeah, I wouldn't be seen dead carrying that or something because of age or whatever else. Kids will probably love it. But the thing is ultimately at the end of the day, it comes with a free hard case, so you can't really complain. And say free, they're quite expensive. They're not cheap ukuleles. I think they're retailing at the moment, this model particularly, around about £359, so it's quite a lot of money, but you do get quite a good ukulele for it. Just to go over the basics first, I'm going to go into some of the electronics and the way that works in context, but a little bit later. But basically, first of all, very well built. They're made of composite graphite plastic, basically graphite plastic mixture, metal frets. So you've actually got a nice feel with a slight camber on the neck, relatively high action-ish, not that bad, it's great, it's fine, it's playable, and you can always lower that if you want to. Non-screwed in machine heads look very cool, very futuristic. Obviously the sound hole at the front, you can hear it, and you've got the controls for essentially reverb, modulation effects, which I'll go through in a minute, and volume for the effects. There's also inbuilt here the controls for these, as in turn them on or off inside the sound hole. There's also one down here which is a slide, which is for microphone, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But as you can see, it's all one body, neck all the way through, jack plug, single strap button, and I'll show you that in a minute. And the only other thing that I've put in there, if you can see in there, just gently I'll turn it on. If you can see it, you can. If you can't, don't worry. It's just a little Damasio tuner, which doesn't come with it. It is mine, but it fits in there quite well. The idea around these, obviously, is that they're throwing out the traditional design of ukulele and going with something new and different, which is not a bad thing. Let's face it, the original ukulele didn't actually start out looking like it does today, from Portugal to now what we see from Hawaiian style instruments. Yes, okay, it's going into the electronic world a little bit. It recharges via USB, which is good, sustainable, not wasting batteries and so on and so forth. And the other thing as well, because of the material it's made out of, means that it can actually withstand extreme high and low temperatures. So if you're traveling around or you're playing outside and then you're playing inside, etc, 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 and moving around, the neck doesn't budge, which is great, because obviously the wooden ones are prone to sort of moving around. Now, let's just go on to the nuts and bolts of the whole thing, almost literally. I'm wearing one of their straps. You can get away without buying these. These are quite expensive. I think they charge around about 40 quid or something for these things. They're good, they're well made, and they're adjustable. You can see around here, that's where the adjusters are, and you can sort of just adjust it like a belt. I'm wearing it in the opposite to as you would a guitar strap. That's just the way that I find it comfortable. And it's got a lock mechanism which clips onto the strap button, which makes it obviously very secure. If you want to use a traditional strap, you're a bit stuffed, but you can use this button as a strap button. It does work, and you can always fit another one somewhere around here. They do stick on strap buttons now, I think, as well, so you can actually stick these things on, or you can actually have the strap going to the headstock like you do with other ukuleles. But I personally think that there is another strap as well, actually, that allows you to actually sort of put the strap through the body and round the body rather than actually sort of connecting anything to the actual ukulele, which are great. I use one of those for one of my traditional wooden ukuleles that I don't want to put a strap button into. So first of all, let's put this thing on the strap. First, you know, again, it's a little bit different. You are locking it in, and it locks in. And as you can see, it hangs. Now, basically, what is interesting about these ukuleles is that acoustically, you can hear that. Yeah. Now, without plugging it into anything, I can switch it on and I get reverb and whatever else I've got. I think I've got reverb and chorus. Hear it? And then you can switch it over to delay and reverb. And that's without plugging it in, remember. So you've got a lot of different styles that you can actually play around with. Again, it's, you know, again, maybe a bit of a gadget, may not be. But if you're plugging it directly into a PA, you've got built-in effects as well, remember. And I'll go through that a little bit in a minute because some of that can be a little bit confusing. But basically, that's with obviously delay, switching it over to chorus. And that's with chorus and reverb. Okay, now I'll just turn that off for the moment. So we're just playing with the ukulele. So playability, first and foremost, intonation. The most important part of ukuleles generally anyway is that the cheaper ends, they don't stay in tune. This stays in tune perfectly well. And also the intonation as you go up the neck tends to start to fizzle out a little bit and start to go out of tune or sound like it's going out of tune. And that's because of the position of the bridge and the nut. And obviously if that's a little bit out, especially on fixed instruments like acoustics and any instrument, guitar or acoustics, whatever, you can't move the bridge, you can't move the nut, whereas electric guitars you can move the saddles up and down to adjust the intonation. So it's quite important that that's right from day one on any ukulele that you buy. What you want to do is get a tuner when you go into a shop and try them out, whether it's this one or another one, is actually put the tuner on and just play the notes all the way up the neck. And then you'll find that if it's in tune up here, as the same note as there, but just an octave higher, the intonation's okay. And again, depending on what you play, if you're playing high up the neck, you can hear it's got quite a nice ring to it. It's quite bright sounding ukulele. I'm going to do a little bit of A-Bing with regards to strumming and picking a little bit later, but basically, you know, again, putting the electronics back on without plugging it in again, remember. You've got that, and you can adjust those with these controls at the top, so you can have more or less reverb, you can have more volume of the effect or less volume of the overall effect, that's both effects, or more reverb or more delay, whatever you want to use. But just playing it acoustically with those effects, I'm going to just play the same piece of music. One is going to be finger picked and the other one is going to be strummed, just so you get an idea of the sort of different sort of sounds that you get with the different techniques. Now strummed. Gives you an idea. Again, playing a piece of music that sort of incorporates both. you a little bit of an idea anyway. But overall, playability, fine, great. One of the things I've done with this, I have actually played and used this live, and it worked brilliantly. I mean, again, because I'm plugging it into a PA of some form, but also from the point of view that it's robust and it's, you know, essentially giggable, so which is the main thing for most things. Again, studio wise, it's up to you. You know, you might be more of a traditionalist or not, as the case may be. From my perspective, whenever I'm recording ukulele or any acoustic guitar type stuff anyway, to be honest with you, I always mic it up. I don't use plugged into the computer or plugged into the recording system, mainly because it gives you a little bit of a full sound. Combination of the both, yeah, plugged in and mic, so you can blend them together, fair enough. But I do still tend, when I'm recording, to actually use a traditional wooden ukulele. Again, the one that I use is, you know, relatively expensive, a lot more than this, and has a particular tone that I quite like, and I know, you know, how it's going to perform and how it's going to sound. Same with this, but I prefer the sound, the recorded sound of my other ukulele, but it doesn't have a pickup, so using it live means I have to use a microphone. Also, it's hand built, and therefore the neck is really nice, but unfortunately, you know, you go from warm to cold or warm to cool or whatever it may be, and the neck starts to move a little bit. So by the time you've done your sound check to the point of going on stage, it's out of tune, and you need to probably tune it up in between songs as well. It's not a bad thing, you know, that's the way that the, you know, ukuleles are, that's the way that all acoustic instruments are. They adapt and to the environment, and that's part of their charm and also part of their resonance and tone. So don't forget the resonance and tone thing. You know, that's something from my perspective, as someone who records, is very much aware of, in the sense of getting that acoustic sound that, you know, you hear when you play the instrument or you're playing it live, is something that's quite difficult to get. I see this very much, or very similar to, almost a hybrid version of the Godin multi-uk, which I also have one of and have used live, and I also use that in the studio as well, but it's much better live. And you know, where you can actually play this acoustically without any effects, or you can actually just plug it in or turn the effects on and have the effects without plugging it in. And then also, which I'll do now, is show you what it's like being plugged in. Now I'm going to plug this in just directly into a clean amplifier. Now this is just going through a very, you know, like a PA basically. So you can see it's a little bit louder, and there's a little bit of reverb on here. There's the delay. That's actually from the amplifier, not from the ukulele. Right, so now switching it on. Now what we've got is the actual sound of the ukulele. So this is the sound with delay. Let's put the delay on. You can see and hear. There's the delay. And again, turn the delay off with just reverb and chorus. You can see you get that really nice tone. Now, this is where the microphone comes into play. A lot of people are going, what does the microphone do? Don't really know what that switch does when they're not plugged in. You have to plug the thing in to actually get the microphone to work. The microphone, which is a slider that's inside here, allows you to increase the volume or decrease the volume of the ukulele blended with the amplifier. Obviously, if you have it full up, you're prone to feedback, obviously. But then you get that, this is the sound of the amplifier completely flat, no effects whatsoever, and just the ukulele with the inbuilt effects. So that's actually, you know, as I say, really from my perspective, pretty much what I've got to say about this ukulele. You've got the controls on the top. There's a little green light that pops up when it's switched on. You can plug it into an amplifier. I'll turn the amplifier off to stop the thud. Unplug it, and then you can play the instrument without the effects on. Sounds the same as most other ukes. If anything, it's probably got less sustain because of the material it's made out of. But you know, if you're sitting there practicing, you know, and your other half's gone to bed and you don't want to disturb them, it's great to just sit there and just play. You know, so it's quiet, and then you can always add the effects to give yourself a little bit of a bit more brightness, a bit more depth. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of an insight. As I say, subscribe to my channel. I will be posting more and more regularly and doing some more, possibly more reviews, but also some more compositions and performances as well. But also, you know, the thing is from this ukulele is that it is, again, I would say, you know, it's not cheap, let's face it, but it's not, you know, £700, £800 or £1,400 or whatever it may be, which you can spend on them, trust me. You know, the thing is that ultimately, from a, you know, for a first ukulele, it's, you know, it's great if you can afford it. But also remember, it comes in a 23-inch, which is a concert size. The concert size comes with the inbuilt effects and the acoustic stuff, but doesn't have the microphone volume. Doesn't matter, still plugs in, you can still plug it in, you just don't have that ability to mix the microphone, the acoustic sound of the instrument with the effects and stuff. So, but you know, some of you may not want that. And that's a little bit cheaper. I think that's under £300, still quite expensive. But again, comes with the hard case, and remember the straps are extra. But you can, you know, you can order this direct from Lava if you wish, but there are dealers within the UK now, obviously, that you can buy this thing for. But overall, I think it's quite a good little ukulele, to be fair. Thanks for listening.